dissertation on breaking the generational curse, welcome our moderator, Dr. Bahiyyah Muhammad, Associate Professor of Criminology in the Department of Sociology at Howard University.
Thank you so much. The energy in the room is fabulous. I always enjoy participating in this particular conference. You all feel the vibe, you feel the energy is just phenomenal. I had an opportunity to participate last year in Texas, and I carried that energy for almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So this is a different conference, it's a different convening, and I'm prayerful that each and every one of you will continue to come back and spread the word. I want to start by thanking the 4th National Returning Citizens Conference, specifically hosted by 400 Years of African American History Federal Commission, as well as the Faith and Justice Advisory Committee. I'm so excited about this panel, so excited about this panel. After a long day yesterday, hearing a multitude of stories, phenomenal panels, 2 days in a row, I am excited to bring to you a story of an entire family. We talk a lot about the effects of mass incarceration on individuals. We talk about the experiences specifically of children of incarcerated parents, but oftentimes one of the things that we don't get an opportunity to see is the Black united family and the ways in which they resist and push back against the system, against oppression, through faith, liberation, and love. On April 15, 1989, in the nation's capital, a father and a son would be separated due to the father's leadership role in the largest conspiracy in the city's history, before or since. The son's mother would be overwhelmed by mental illness almost instantly. This would start a 34-year battle for reunification. The son would brave some of the toughest terrains imaginable. Washington, D.C., when it was America's crack and murder capital. The father would be thrust into the Federal Bureau of Prisons to serve a life without parole sentence. The two would battle direct and vicarious trauma, fear, loss, grief, isolation, uncertainty during the father's incarceration. Their unbreakable bond withstands the test of time. And the son's unrelenting commitment to his father and his community and his family would eventually free the father from bondage. This is the story of B. Tony Lewis Jr. and B. Tony Lewis Sr. You all had an opportunity to see the short video that highlighted bits and pieces of the return of the family coming home. I want to start with you, Tony Lewis Jr., just talking about what that video means to you when you see it, when you hear it. Give us a little bit about what you feel and what you think.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? That video, we didn't see it, just hearing the music and knowing the video, which happened a year ago on March 20th. You get those stunning butterflies, it almost takes you back there, really just thinking about all that it took to get to that day, how improbable, and for most people's minds, impossible that feat was. So many people didn't believe that my father would come home, but I did, and my faith in God and the support of my family and my community made that happen. And it just makes me, feel like the luckiest man in the world, and for us to be on this stage before a crowd of what I like to say is my kind. I'm incredibly grateful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And so, Tony Jr., what does it feel to have your family on this stage with you?
Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, we've been together every day, right, for the last, a little over a year. And, even prior to Pops coming home, we would talk every day too, or unless it was, lockdown or something of that nature. But this reunification has been more than I dreamed. And I think my father was in prison when I was 9 years old. He come home when I'm 43. With a whole wife and 2 kids. And, and for a lot of families, and I know people in this crowd can attest to this, it's not always easy. It's not always somebody come home and it's fit right together. But I spoke about just how blessed we've been, how grateful I am. That's one of the things I'm the most grateful for, because it's been, it's been some adjustment, but it's nowhere near what I've seen, in my work as a reentry leader here in DC. I've seen so many family reunification situations not go how you wanted to. So I just continue to wake up every day in amazement and in such a space of gratitude for just what we carved out, the rhythm that we have, how we hit the ground running, and how we've gotten a chance to just continue to grow and learn each other more than what we had prior. It's just been a beautiful situation.
Yes, phenomenal. I want to come to you, Jessica Lewis, just because when we think about these experiences, oftentimes the mother, we don't necessarily get to hear all of those perspectives, and there's a lot of pillow talk that happens when families are dealing with incarceration. There's a lot of times where I'm sure you have to see kind of the behind the scenes. I know you are phenomenal when it comes to cooking, amazing cuisines, and sometimes cooking Tony back into health. Please tell us a little bit about this experience for you and what it means to have your full family united.
Sure, so good afternoon, everyone. To me, it's just been beautiful to see the past year. Again, as Tony said, it's been zero adjustment. It's been beautiful every morning to hear Pop say, "Good morning, girls, let's get ready for school." And, he really dreamed of this. Every morning before, when he was in prison, he would call every morning before they go to school to say, "Have a great day at school," all the positive things. So now he can actually take them to school. I remember when he first came home, he was like, "No, I'm taking him, I'm dropping him off." So we took him into the school. This was still kind of like COVID, not sure, but she dragged him. She's like, "No, he's taking me to my classroom." So they were very happy to have him. So for me, it's just been a long journey. I've been with Tony probably for about 13 years now, and so never did I see him lose hope, which is so easy to do. And every day I saw him fight, not only for his father, but for everybody. And that day I'll never forget when we got the news. And then when we went to go pick him up, the girls just went running for him. It was the most beautiful thing. You see it from the video, but there's really nothing like it. Like the emotions just poured out. And yes, I went straight into, I got cook for you. We gonna eat some good food. Okay, what do you want? Whatever you need, I got you. And it's been a blessing for me to see this fit, to be welcomed into this family. This is my family. And I'm gonna stop talking before I get too emotional. But it's been, every day's been very beautiful. It's normal now. I think we're finally into our routine. And the girls get to have their grandfather. My husband missed a lot of what he should have had with his father. And the fact that he can just pick up and start with his granddaughters, I'm just glad to have him here with us every day.
So we are extremely privileged with this panel to have Mrs. Sophie Lewis as well as Isabella Lewis. Sophie is 7 years old and Isabella is 10 years old. I want to give the mic to Sophie Lewis and start. I was looking at some of the videos and saw you during the protest and during all of that engagement. I just wanted to give you, our next generation, an opportunity to tell us how that felt, what that meant to you.
It was really happy, and I was really grateful to cheer for my grandfather, and I was super happy. I was crying in tears when my dream came true.
Isabella Lewis, who is also participated kind of in a podcast where you had an opportunity to interview your father as an assignment for school. I mean, just you two are phenomenal as it just highlights the future and the potential of what's to come. As a professor at Howard, I'm just blown away by you, by your sister. Just wanting to give you the opportunity as an older sister to share what you feel in this space about this experience.
It made me super happy, and that I could wake up and see him downstairs about to go to work. And my podcast, I did that because I am really fascinated about my dad and my grandpa's story. So I did the podcast because I wanted to ask questions about how his life, my dad's life, was before I was born and before my grandpa went to jail. And I'm super grateful that I got to spend my first birthday with him, because our birthdays are one day apart. I got to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and I'm going to spend my 11th birthday with him this year, and 4th of July, and have summer break with him and spring break.
Being able to witness the power of resilience, you know, when families are able to pray together, to stay together, to be humble together through these experiences. You see it ricocheting and living within the youngest individuals among us. Thank you both so much. I was trying to give you some time, Tony Lewis Sr. I know this is a difficult time and conversation, and I love that you all have an opportunity to see the true bonding, to see, you know, the reality of lived experiences that don't just go away when individuals come home. That, you know, these are experiences, like Tony Jr. told us, that you continue to learn and to engage and to feel. And these wounds, even though they may have band-aids, still remain open, sometimes forever. Tony Lewis Sr., welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad.
I'm so excited about the conversation. I feel like I know you, talking with your son all the time. It just felt like you always were there, was always the impetus. I've interviewed your son so many times, even Jessica as well, and I've just been always intrigued by the resilience that you've been able to put forth through mail call and visits, the love that you've been able to pass on that's unwavering and undying. I have a very strong relationship with my father, and even from the grave, he's teaching me and guiding me. And so I wanted you to talk about the ways in which you were able to rebuild hope, to rebuild resilience, but more importantly, maintaining your humility. You're so humble in the midst of all of these experiences, and I think we all have something to learn from that.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Thank everybody here, the conference. I'm glad to be here. Or thank God, because without God, I definitely wouldn't be here. Couldn't make it. Thank all the pastors that are here. Y'all mean a lot, especially when you're incarcerated. Because it seems like most people don't care, but we have people like pastors and different organizations. And I want to thank all the people watching in D.C. that showed me and my family so much support. And I definitely want to thank you, Ms. Muhammad. I've been waiting to meet you, and this is the first time that we got face to face. Thank you so much for that powerful, that letter that you wrote for me to the judge was so powerful, so amazing. And I said to myself, I just can't wait to meet her. First, I didn't know if he was her or him, and I just sometimes like, and then I found out she was a woman. It was just so amazing. So I'm so happy to be here. And again, for me, as far as resiliency and making it through what I've been through and keeping a tight bond with my son and my family, again, starts with God. Because there were so many times that I wanted to just rile out and just say, poot everything, just for the fact that I had life without parole. And every day in prison, it was like my sentence was just starting, even no matter how much time I had already done. And, hope starts to waver a lot of times. But when you got an amazing son such as I have, and amazing family, wifey, and my 2 granddaughters right here, and they always support me. I can call home and be down and out of it, and then when I talk to them, it just lights me back up, give me my second wind, and God and family and just good people like all of y'all here today, Ms. Muhammad and all the people watching in D.C. So that's what did it for me for the most part.
Thank you. So we're going to come back down to Tony Lewis Jr. We talked a little bit about family, we talked a little bit about faith. I want to get to home, right? And reading Slug in your book, if you all don't have a copy of Tony Lewis Jr.'s book, I use it in all of my courses, bringing it in detention facilities into the prison. There's a workbook that actually goes with it, so it's a great facilitation for at-risk or at-promise individuals, but a phenomenal read. One of the things that's so intriguing to many of the students, specifically at Howard University, some who are native Washingtonians, is the love and care that you put through those pages, specifically thinking about Hanover Place. And I know that you are committed to the community that you come from, still living in the community. Why was that important, and why is that important for you?
For me, both my mother and my father come from Hanover, right? It's everything that I know, it's everything that I am, and it built me, it established my values and my principles and my outlook on life, and particularly the things that I've been, celebrated from a certain perspective as it relates to helping the community, helping those around me. All that came from Hanover. It grounds me, it keeps me humble, and it keeps me focused on what I feel like is my purpose. So much has been, of course, and I think rightfully so, made my work to get my father out of prison, but my work has, helped thousands of families at this point, whether it's around reunification or just helping people reenter successfully and access the stabilization things that we know people need, from healthcare to housing to employment, to entrepreneurial opportunities, the list goes on. And my community, and my family and friends, really were the people and continue to be people that, I aim to help. My sphere has just grown, my orbit has just grown in terms of sort of my zone of interest, but it really started with my family and my community in terms of my service. And my community, though, my family really is a microcosm of many, not just many families throughout the District of Columbia or the DC metropolitan area, but also throughout the country. And I think that's why our story resonates so deeply, and because it's a human story. It's a story of family and not giving up and being unwavering and unapologetic in your love for your family. And all of that is inspired by this little small street off of North Capitol, in Northwest Washington. And now I'm raising my girls there. My parents grew up playing over, I grew up playing over, and now Jess and I are raising our girls on Hanover through our neighborhood. It's changed a lot. Still some remnants of the Hanover that I grew up in. Like I want to make Hanover the most thriving, safest community, most inclusive community in our city. I want to push that across this city, across the country. And clearly, people that have been impacted by the criminal justice system are centered in that vision for me, because that's my family, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think what we've been able to show, even in just this year's time, whether it's the White House visit for Christmas when they let Pops in, and then, you know, we had to make some noise and they let us in for a tour. Whether it's Sophie taking her grandfather into a school and walking through school, all those little things, certain jobs, certain opportunities, whatever. It's like, there's no place that somebody has been just as involved, shouldn't be allowed to go, shouldn't be allowed to do. And that's, now that I did this in terms of getting Dad back, that's the only thing I'm focused in. Full rights restoration for those men and women that have been, touched by the criminal justice system.
I'm going to come back to Jessica Lewis. I get a lot of questions about being and serving as support over the long term. I teach all of my classes inside of carceral spaces, and so oftentimes students, when they read articles about visitation, don't necessarily understand the reasoning behind why some people give up or decide that they're not going to support. If there was any advice that you could have for wives, significant others, aunts, sisters, what words of wisdom can you give, or strategies to allow for individuals to take that long road?
Sure. I'm a firm believer that, we're nothing without women. We're in our families. They will always be the backbone of their community, of their family, of all of that. So, again, I have been honored to try my best to be the backbone in his family, to give my husband a safe space, because so many times he's so strong for everyone else that he couldn't even allow himself to be vulnerable and feel weak for a situation like, I don't know how he has been saved for this long, sometimes I just wonder how his mom, where he's been able to be so strong, given all of the things that he had to go through throughout his life. But I will say that when we first met and when we first had Isabella, both my father-in-law and Tony were very weary about us bringing the kids to jail. They were very hopeful about bringing him home, and that's where we should have the kids be with him. But to me, I was like, no, we're gonna meet him where he is, and we are going to have these children have this relationship with their grandfather, because nothing should stop that. And I'm glad that we were able to do that. Again, the phone calls every day. No matter who's tired, when they wake up in the morning, you're gonna talk to your grandfather. You're gonna continue. So when he came home, it wasn't like this. Now, granted, he came right after COVID, so we didn't see him for several years because of COVID. And you would never even know. When he came home, it's like, she, I think, was 3 the last time that she saw him, and she's, now 7, but they did not skip a beat. And I think that's because we continued those conversations every single day. We continued writing letters and sending pictures to Papa, so that he felt as if he was there. So that when he did come home, it wasn't an odd transition. Like, that's why I really feel like this worked out the way he came home. It hasn't been difficult of a transition. Not everybody has that, but you have to, you know, just take every day at a time. Because it's just, I've seen so many people that Tony knows where those bonds are just broken because they don't continue, they don't try to work towards it. It's a very difficult situation, but I think we as women need to continue to push, you know, whomever in the family to continue that support because a miracle can happen. And here we are, and we're one family.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to Sophie Lewis as well as Isabella. There are a lot of kids that are a part of these experiences, some that are invisible, some that we see. I'm wondering, what advice do you have for other 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds that may be going through similar experiences?
Well, you should always believe in that miracles can happen, and this miracle happened today on stage.
There you go.
The advice that I have for other kids who have family in jail is that always believe that they'll come home someday, because even though if you don't see them a lot, you can still write letters and continue along with them so that you have a strong family bond and you can always count on them even though they're not there. And don't really show any weakness or don't ever stop believing or don't ever stop having hope that they'll come home someday, because I didn't, and my grandpa came home. So.
I'm always so excited. My research expertise is on the lived experiences of children of incarcerated parents. So for 2 decades, if not more than I've been teaching in a prison, which a lot of people don't